Rod Menzel with GreatWay Roofing, taking a look at a roof at 5210 Lewis Road here in Agoura Hills. The existing roof on one side, we've got a tile roof. On this other side, it's just as steep, but it's an acrylic roof. And it looks like they properly strapped the roof with the emulsion and came up with a white coating. The roof itself, in my opinion, looks like it's in good shape. We've got good adhesion. Everything seems to be working quite well. The waterways have been maintained before. Everything looks really solid in here. The big issue, I understand, is going to be at the air conditioning units. My question is, should we replace the entire roof, or should the units be lifted and waterproof properly and reset? What you may be able to do is just limit your roofing to these HVAC units. The roof's coping metal looks like it's in okay shape. You can see once again the coating that's been done here. Not a terrible bad detail, but this is one area of something you could quite possibly replace the coping metal. You'd want something that laps down a little bit further. You can probably see lumber and wood underneath there. These scupper drains, they're okay as well. You know, you just want to make sure you have a good seal there. I would consider just putting a coating, recoating this if you wanted to spend the money, but I don't think a complete system makes sense there. There have been some repairs done here in the past, just to get an idea with where we're at. And this repair here could be the leak source. It could also be coming from this coping metal. And I guess technically it could get all the way up underneath here, underneath this unit. But also we've got some ducting in the way. There's a lot of things that could be causing this leak. I'd recommend just making sure that we replace the coping metal and three-coursing all the terminations where the roof and wall intersect, and the penetrations, any pipes, and then just put a coating over it. I don't see a need to spend the money on the emulsion at this point. And maybe not even put a coating over it. Maybe able to save the money to do that. So this is unit number 8, I think. And if we take a look at what's happening on all these, this is a good view here. You can see the ducting's here, comes down to the unit. As the water runs underneath this, you can see right in there. And what you've got is, quite possibly, it's impossible to seal that unless that unit gets lifted. So if we lift that unit, make sure we got a good seal there and a good seal underneath that, you're going to have a watertight roof, and I think that's will solve your problems. To do that, you need to lift the units, add new ducting, and be done with it. While doing the roof, one of the ideas would also be just to come in and replace the skylights. Since this skylight's been sealed, it could be a leak source. It's not a curb-mounted skylight, it's a self-flash skylight. Probably a couple $100 item. And same down here, we've got a few more skylights that just look like they can use some love and attention. And it might make sense while we're doing the roof just to replace these as well. My guess is there's been some sort of leak here at some point in the past with these. I'm looking at unit number 5, and what this tells me is, I notice this bubble right here. You can see my hand on it, and it can push down. It's full of air and maybe some water. That means water got down to it, and if you look right here, I'm pushing the water out. So water is trapped in here. So the key is, once again, just making sure we get these units up. And watch one more time. There's the water coming out. So water is getting in there. I don't know if it's coming from that source or if it's back here. The bottom line is, once again, there's one more thing to tell me that to lift the units and put new ducting, we'll be in good shape. Regardless if you do the complete roof or not, one of the things that's going to be important is that all these tiles get removed. And if you take a look here, you can see the old roof was green underneath it, but if you don't lap this up and get onto the other side, it's possible for a leak to come right here at this point and come right underneath of all of our work. It's going to be very important to lift the tiles up. Going back to the tiles, you can see there's been some mastic put on these tiles here. That's not the proper way to do it. You should lap the units up. When you lift the tiles up, run the roofing material over, and then reinstall the tiles. So here are the recommendations from GreatWay Roofing. I recommend, number 1, removing the tiles from the ridge, making sure that we put proper material there so we have a waterproof seal. Number 2, replace all skylights. It looks like the seal on the skylight on the lens has got a problem, and it's been sealed here pretty enough, so we've got a leak source there. Number 3, I recommend new base flashing and quite possibly new ducting. The units may need to be lifted, they may be able to stay in place. Number 4, Replace all coping metal because it looks like we got a possible leak sources here as well. And finally, number 5, seal all penetrations, terminations, and make sure we got a nice watertight seal here. And I guess number 6, not finally, number 6, to remove anything that's no longer being used on the roof, or it could also be a leak source. From there you can go a couple different directions. Number 1, you could go ahead and put a full emulsion and polyester and acrylic roof system together on this roof. I don't know if that's necessary. Number 2, you could just put a white coating on the roof. Or number 3, you don't even have to put a coating at all. You could just go with what you have, knowing that all the other problem areas have been taken care of, and know that you're likely not going to have leaks in these types of areas here where there's an open field, or down there where there's an open field.